Hello friends, welcome to Salesforce CMAtics video session 151. So basically in today's video, we will actually go through and understand what are the difference between each of the subcharts which we have in our gauge chart. Okay, so we have the gauge, we have, you know, uh, the bullet, the ratings. Okay, so flat gauge. So we will actually walk through each one of them. Fine. So very quickly, what I will do is I will also open my notepad. Okay. So one good thing about this gauge, whatever charts are there, that there's no minimum requirement, something which we were seeing, until where we were dealing with dates and times. Okay, here we don't have any such thing. So very quickly, I will open all those things one by one. So we will start with the gauge. Okay, then we have something called as the polar gauge. Okay, then we have something called as the flat gauge. Okay, then we have something called as the uh, bullet, and finally we have something called as the rating. So, firstly, definitely you have to remember that under gauges we have this kind of subcharts, that is gauge, polar gauge, flat gauge, okay, bullet and rating. Okay, these are the five subcharts which are there under gauges, and this might come in interview as well. I hope you will remember this. And other than this, one thing which you must have observed is that if I just go to that formatting, okay, very quickly let me shift to the formatting of all the charts. Now, basically, when it comes to God chart, you don't have these options of tooltip and trellis, I guess. Sorry, tooltip, and there was one more. Yeah, tooltip and chart markers. Okay, so if you observe here, like we have the tooltip and chart markers, and also here we don't have the tooltip and chart markers, and also here we don't have the tooltip and chart markers. Okay, so the first point of difference, and of course I will recap at the very end as well. The first point of difference is that the trellis and chart markers. Sorry, the tooltip and chart markers. The tooltip and chart markers is something which is only present in polar gauge and in flat gauge. That is the only place where the tooltip and chart markers are present. Okay, it's not present in the gauge, okay, as well as in bullet and rating. Fine, that's the first point of difference. Okay, secondly, like here if we go to the polar gauge, okay, you have this option of center size which is only present over there. Let me select the gauge over here, let me select the polar gauge here, also let me select the flat gauge. Okay, here also let me select that bullet options, and here also let me select the rating options. Now here the functionalities are completely different. So when it comes to gauge, okay, you definitely have that option of, like, whether you want to show the band percentage band, you have this gauge angle which is a different thing. Now that is something. So here the features which you see under gauge chart is like you have the gauge angle, and whether you want to disable or enable the band percentage, band range, and band level. Okay, now when it comes to the polar gauge, you have something called as the center size. Fine. And when it comes to the flat gauge, there, like, you can add the reference line. Okay, now the reference line is something you can only add, like if you see over here, you cannot add the reference line here, as well as I think here also you cannot add. Here the range value is completely different. So the reference value is something you can only, here of course I have added the reference line, and here also I think we cannot add the reference line. Yeah, here also we cannot add the reference line. So the reference line is something which you can only add in flat gauge and bullet chart. Okay, so basically the first point of difference is that, like, the tooltip and chart markers, okay, the tooltip and chart markers are only present under polar gauge and flat gauge. It is not present under gauge, bullet, and ratings. The second point of difference is definitely the fact that the reference line can only be added under flat gauge and under bullet chart. Okay, that is something we have seen over here. Other than that, if you see here, now it's a different characteristics altogether. Like, what are the different features? So under gauge you have this feature of enabling or disabling all this and the gauge angle. Under polar you have that features of increasing the center size. Okay, and under this flat gauge you have that option of basically adding a reference line. Okay, that itself is a feature. Okay, and then if you go to the bullet, here you have some extra option other than reference line, is that you can add the range weight as well as the bar weight. Okay, and when it comes to flat gauge, you can actually ensure that you can choose the different kind of icons, the number of icons. Okay, so these are some of the different features which you have. Okay, and other than that, of course, the range values, if you see, there's not much of a difference. The range values, if you see, it's completely the same in all of this one. Okay, so that is something you need to consider. Fine. So the range values is more or less completely the same. Fine. So that's the whole point of thing about this chord chart. Fine. So firstly, if you see, like when it comes to the visualization, like this is more like a gauge, okay, where you have this clock icon. So if you compare the visualization aspect as well, and then I can give a complete summary. First of all, in gauge, it's more like a clock or watch icon, whatever you call it, depending upon this gauge angle which you see. Like if you go, I mean, we don't have the complete 360, but basically it's more like a, so basically you have that particular hand, I don't know, you can call it an hour, minute or whatever hand, and that particular rotates and it exactly points to the value it has to point to. And that's how it, this gauge is all about. It's more like a clock or a watch kind of a thing where, you have that particular pointer which exactly points to that value. That's the visualization about gauge chart. Okay. Now, when it comes to polar, it's more like a donut, I would say. Okay, so definitely depending upon how you mention the center size, it appears more like a donut, definitely. Okay, and when it comes to flat, it's, as the name says, basically like a flat gauge. Okay, and when it comes to the bullet, as you can see, like flat gauge and bullet, it's more or less same. Flat gauge is like, there's a particular indicator. So basically, there's a particular pipe, and under that you have an indicator. You can consider it as a water or whatever liquid you call it. And that particular, like, it's just like more like a thermometer, right? So you have that thermometer, that particular range which is there, okay, in the thermometer, and basically depending upon how much the mercury level is rising in that particular segment, that's how it's basically short, but it's like a flat line. And when it comes to the bullet, it's like one particular line is appearing. Okay, and I think that particular technical name is something you can watch, like a particular bar is there, and that particular bar is there under that particular range as well. Okay, that's how the bullet is more or less like. And when it comes to the ratings, though, you have different kind of ratings, the way you have given ratings in any kind of film review or something like that. So you can choose the number of rating points as well, the number of icons, and the rating icon can be different. It can vary from circle, star, heart, okay, cloud, check, whatever you call it, whatever you want to name it. Fine. So that's another thing which you definitely have it over here. Okay. So yeah, that is more or less about this one. So firstly, the first point of difference is, if I give you a complete recap. So firstly, of course, definitely you have to remember that when it comes to gauge chart, the different kind of subcharts which are there is gauge, polar gauge, flat gauge, bullet, and rating. That's the first point of I mean, that's a general information you definitely need to know. The second thing is about the visualization aspect. So basically, when it comes to the gauge chart, it's more appears like a watch kind of a thing or a clock kind of a thing with a pointer which definitely points to that value. When it comes to polar gauge chart, is appears more like a donut, definitely, as you can see. When it comes to the flat gauge, it's basically appearing like a particular thermometer kind of a thing, but it's in a flat way, not in a horizontal manner, where there's a particular pipe and there's a particular liquid, or there's a particular stuffs which is inside which points to that exact count. Okay, that's the thing about this flat gauge. Okay, and when it comes to the bullet, it's like you have this particular range weight and a bar weight under it. So there's a range weight and there's a bar weight under it, which particularly suggests the values. Okay, that's how this flat bullet chart is different. Now this bullet chart can completely be made, just a simple flat bar. If you see, like if you play around with the range weight and bar weight, if I make that equal, it basically appears like a complete bar. So yeah, under bullet, you have to just remember you have this concept of range weight and bar weight. Okay, so the outer one is the range weight and the below one is the bar weight. And when it comes to the ratings, it basically appears like a rating, as the name suggests, with different kind of icons which are available. You must know the icons that in interview this kind of things will be asked, where what are the different kind of icons which you have. You have the circle, star, heart, square, check and cloud. That's fine. The secondly, this is the first one related to visualization. The second difference is that definitely we don't have the tooltip and chart markers. The tooltip and chart markers is something which is only present in the polar gauge and flat gauge, which is not present in any others. Okay, and the third point of difference is definitely the reference line. The reference line is something which you can only add in the flat gauge and the bullet chart, something which you cannot add in other parts. Okay, and the third point is definitely ensuring that you mention what are the different settings specifically there in each of the subcharts. So for example, under gauge, and one more thing is like for example, under gauge you have this kind of separate things where you can disable or enable the band percentage and band value. You can choose the gauge angle, and when it comes to the polar gauge, you can choose the center size. Okay, and when it comes to flat gauge, basically you can add the reference line. There's nothing much over there. And when it comes to the bullet chart, basically you can play around with the range weight, the bar weight, and the bar color, other than adding the reference line. And when it comes to the rating, you can actually go for different kind of icons, the number of icons, and whether you want to disable or enable the max value or show the values on it. Okay, these are some of the basic things. And one more thing is like the show value as. I think that if you see that show value as is definitely appearing everywhere. Okay, so how you want to show the values as, that is definitely appearing everywhere, which is fine. Okay, so similarities, of course, the general settings, and the conditional formatting and trellis. The conditional formatting and trellis is definitely present all the time in every one of them. Right? And we have walked through the trellis aspect as well, where definitely adding a few things doesn't make that much of a difference. Okay, so yeah, that is more or less about this gauge, the different kind of subcharts which are present in the gauge, and what is the function. So it depends upon the visualization how one wants to see, depends upon the client or the end user how which chart one particular wants to use for the gauge. And yeah, this is the whole difference which is there. And we have also walked through the similarities of them, similarities as well as the difference. So yeah, with that we complete, we come to the end of this complete concept of gauge chart. And yeah, in our next session we will actually undergo through the circles and dots. Okay, so what are the different subcharts which are there, and we play around with the circles and whatever charts subcharts are there under circles and dots. So yeah, that's it about this video. And yeah, let's meet very soon in our next video. Thank you.